New electricity tariff regime kicks off in Nigeria today as many consumers are anxious ahead of increased bills. The new tariff comes with an increase in electricity charges in the 11 distribution companies as the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission integrates the fixed charge components in the adjusted multi-year tariff order. Although the various discos, including the Abuja Electricity Distribution Company, says the tariff will see them increase their investments in the sector. Good afternoon and welcome to Business Nigeria. I am Ugochi Olibo. Now, as the new electricity tariff regime kicks off in Nigeria today, many consumers are anxious ahead of their increased bills. The new tariff comes with an increase in electricity charges in the 11 distribution companies as the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission integrates the fixed charge components in the adjusted multi-year tariff order. The new electricity cost for residential customer classification in Abuja has now risen by 9 naira 60 kobo. That's about 5 cents per kilowatts, while those in Eco and Ikeja discos are getting an increase of about 10 naira, and that's like 6 cents, and also 8 naira, that's about 4 cents. Kaduna disco tariff has also risen by 11 naira 5 kobo, that's about 7 cents. Now, a cross-section of Lagosians bear their minds on this development. Listen to this.
The move by the government to increase the tariff, especially on the electricity, is anti the people at the lower ebb of the society. So nobody, I will not support it. Most people will not support it, especially people who have the welfare of the common people in mind. What we are expecting from government is to find a way of reducing the hardship on the people.
Nigeria is not right for that now, but the issue is that if we can be having stable electricity, why not? They can increase it.
To me, it's a welcome development for them to increase it. If there's going to be light for all.
Before you can talk of increments, how far have you gone with the improvement of power supply? If you go to a lot of places, especially in Lagos here, and some neighboring states, a lot of people are still saying they don't have light regularly. So how do we now justify the increments?
At the moment now, Nigerians are having difficulties with electricity, and yet people are paying, we are not getting what we are paying for. So now imagine when the tariff is being increased, definitely it is so obvious that it's going to increase the sufferings of Nigerians.
Well, in the studio with me is an entrepreneurship trainer based in Lagos, Lukman Raimi. And also joining us, not in the studio, is the Chief Executive Officer, Eco Electricity Distribution Company, Oladele Amadu, to discuss this development in the power sector. Thanks for joining us, gentlemen. Now let's start with you, Mr. Amadu. The new electricity tariff kicks off today in Nigeria. Is this the right thing to do at this time, considering the rate of epileptic power supply or quote-unquote non-existent power supply in the country?
Yeah. Oladele Amoda, thanks for inviting me to this discussion. Electricity tariff in Nigeria is one of the lowest in the world, and the market price for electricity. Nobody will want to conduct business and not be able to cover the cost. The tariff we had before now not covering cost.
So no reasonable businessman will continue to do business, if you cannot cover your cost. We are not even talking about profit, but at least to cover the cost of distribution of electricity. And besides that, we, the DISCO, take care of the entire power value chain, the generation, the transmission, the gas company, and the regulator, and every stakeholder in the power value chain. If we are not getting enough, to cover the cost of the energy we receive from the grid, I don't see how the investors will be able to continue to invest, because if you cannot cover your costs to start with, there is this, you are not in business. Your business can collapse anytime. Now, we signed a performance agreement of 5 years with DPE that within 5 years, certain things must be taken care of. And there are things that government is supposed to put in place, like for us to have about 7,000 megawatts at the takeover time. But what did you see? We've been having less than 5,000.
But what did we see? We've been having less than 5,000, 4,800, and now about 4,000. The tariff then was so low that loss. The investors are supposed to invest. They've been investing anyway. Companies, distribution company, generation company, they've been investing massively. But they can no longer go to the bank, to get.
The banks are looking at, your tariff. They are looking at the tariff of the disco to be able, so that it will give them confidence. But what they saw before now was a tariff that will not cover the cost, and banks cannot lend.
Mr. Oladele, can you hold your thoughts, and let's quickly move over to the entrepreneurship trainer in the studio, Lukman Remy. Now, do you think it's valid? He said it's the lowest in the world. Do you think this argument is valid?
I think that argument is not valid. And of course, for those of us who work with data, it's one-sided. You are looking at tariff in America, United Kingdom, etc. You are not looking at other side of the data. As we speak, the poverty rate in Nigeria is 70%. And as we speak, the unemployment rate is 23.9%. And as we speak, workers in Imo State have been sacked, over 3,000. As we speak, so many people have not collected their salary as we speak. So when you are talking about using data to justify your argument, you must look at the data comprehensively. So in the case of the PHCN, they're only looking at the relative prices in Nigeria compared to that of Ghana and other part of the world. But you are not looking at other indices. He was talking about infrastructural neglect. The question is, who caused that? Several administrations earmarked huge billions of naira for upgrading NEPA infrastructure, but most of these funds ended up private pockets. So are we the one to suffer for that? You are going to bank to borrow because of privatization, fine. Bankers are not Father Christmas. They must look at the cash flow and of course the figures. That is why they are arguing, change your pricing. To change your price, there are some things you must do. First, you must ensure that you provide the service promptly, timely. Then you now call those of us who are consumers from two perspectives, residential and commercial, to a round table. We now discuss. We know that the price being charged in Nigeria today, of course, is very low. Then how do we increase the price?
But he also mentioned that they need to increase to get more money to be able to run this and therefore provide electricity to Nigeria.
We disagree with that. The federal government of Nigeria can provide that fund, and they have been providing it previously. You can get funds from federal government to upgrade the infrastructure, make the power stable, then now call us to round table. What do we do to charge appropriate pricing? Not just to impose a price on us. We are in a democracy. And in a democracy, there's what we call stakeholders dialogue. They've not dialogue with Manufacturers Association of Nigeria. They have not discussed with consumers. So all of a sudden, somebody just increased the price unilaterally. There will be reactions.
Let's quickly go over to Mr. Oladele Amuda. Now, the issue of metering is yet to be settled, and now this increase. What's your take on this?
We consulted with the customer. Even last year, we went around all the discourse. We had several sessions with customers in various locations, Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, Third Bank, representative of communities, and so on. We consulted with people. Even last week, before now, we still went down on the town hall, meetings with our customers. So it's not right to say that we didn't consult with the customer. We did consult. We consulted with the customer.
So you did consult, and they agreed on these new charges, or you just specified?
We were able to convince them. We were able to tell them that look, If there's no money in the system, if there's no investment, and that is the truth. I mean, you can't continue to run your business, I just even not covering your costs. We are not even talking about, the profit now, because the investors are not going to make any profit. They are going to be investing, in the system. If you look at what have been invested in the past 2 months, you will agree with me that we need to have a market price for electricity. Look at Edwin, for instance. They moved their capacity from about 400 megawatts to 1,000 megawatts plus. Same thing for satellite. In the discourse, we've been doing a lot of rehabilitation. We have been doing a lot of reinforcement projects. We've been, installing transformers. Though not in the quantity that we would have liked, because fund is not available. Look at the exchange rate. It has gone over the roof since we took over. So, I mean, most of the equipment that we use in Nigeria in power distribution, generation, and so on, they are imported. So you can't, when you look at all these factors, you will see. Now, compare the cost of producing energy. When you generate privately, when you use your own private generator, it costs as much as about 40, 60, 70 naira, per unit of electricity generated. When you compare it with what we are even asking for, the difference is very clear. What you are spending on the generator is like 3 times what we charge now. So you can, and then if you look at the environmental pollution, the noise maintenance of generator, all the inconveniences and so on.
Now,
so customer needs to just, understand that position and let us go ahead.
I mentioned the issue of metering. Nigerians are not comfortable with that not put in place before this new tariff begins to run.
Like I said, the investors are they have planned, to invest massively in metering all over the place. They are investing massively in metering. All the discos have a robust metering plan that have been approved by the regulator. So most of us have started, like a Coke, for instance. What we want to spend on metering is about 52 billion naira, and we have started. We now have close to about 50,000 meters that we are installing right now. We have installed more than 40,000, between 2013 and now. So, and other discos too, everywhere, every disco, metering. So, but people, customer need to bear with us. We cannot meter everybody at the same time. We have a robust plan, metering. We have that in place, but we need funding to continue to, procure meter. And there are all of us are, we are patronizing the local manufacturers so that jobs can be created for Nigerians. So, but there is an option. There is an option. The option of credited advance payment for metering installation, TAPD, is there for customers that cannot wait for a metering rollout to key into. It's a scheme whereby willing customers will pay for the cost of meter. We will install within 45 days, and thereafter we will start to pay back to the customer with interest. That's like customers loaning us money. That is those that cannot wait until our rollout metering plan gets to their service. So we have all these things going in place. So customers should look at other factors, not just the tariff. What is the increase? It's a patchy it's a patchy increase.
Okay, quickly, let's move over to the discrepancies. Now, 60% of the tariff goes to generation companies, while the remaining 40% will be shared between disco and transmission companies. Why this discrepancies?
Because the major component of production of electricity is, the generation spends a lot of money the major, fuel that they use. They have to pay for gas, and they have to pay for their machinery. So when you look at that, I mean, that's how it has been in the MISO. So 70% of what we generate as revenue goes, back to the power value chain to pay the transmission, generation, other stakeholders in the system. So that's how it is.
Okay, thank you very much for joining us, Oladele Amuda, Chief Executive Officer, Eco Electricity Distribution Company. Thank you very much for joining us. Now let's move over to you. You heard him talking about metering. What are your thoughts?
Yes, first and foremost on the issue of stakeholders issue, I still have one or two comments. You see, there's a distinction between calling a meeting and telling people your intention and dialogue. In a stakeholders meeting, you are going to discuss the pros and cons, and you agree. At the end of the day, there must be a communique. In the case of National Electricity Regulatory Commission, there was no communique. If I read all newspaper, Manufacturer Association never agreed to this.
Never agreed
never.
to this.
They rather gave some suggestion, provide meters to the consumers. Then let us look at the transition, the increment, how we can go about it.
So he was wrong. He
Yes,
said,
in the case of their own, it's just telling people their intention, which we feel in a democracy is an imposition of a tariff. And the implication of that is that manufacturers will pass on increment to members of the public. That's the implication. The next 1 month, you see prices of things going up. And already we have poverty rates already very high. So these are the implications that we are arguing that should have been looked at before going ahead with this type of arrangement. Then secondly, the meter issue. I have meter in my house. It's not enough to provide meters, but is the light working?
Yeah, that's a big question for many Nigerians.
Yeah.
We'll take a short break and be back. But thank you so much for joining us, Lukman Raimi, entrepreneurship trainer. Thanks for joining us. We'll take a break on Business Nigeria and be back shortly. Stay with us. This is Business Nigeria. The economic agreements between ECOWAS and the European Union is already sealed, but Nigeria has refused to endorse the trade treaty. This is because the country's officials estimate that Nigeria may likely lose up to $1.3 trillion in trade to the deal. The EU official in Nigeria is worried about the stall in the treaty and hopes to begin talks with the current leadership. However, trade experts do not want Nigeria to sign the deal.
The negotiations between the EU and ECOWAS are closed. Now the problem is between ECOWAS and ECOWAS member states. Most countries have signed, Nigeria has not, and we do expect to engage soon with the new government.
One of the things that I have noticed with my years in the EPA negotiations is that there appears to be a kind of conspiracy within the ECOWAS region to sell Nigeria. We are looking at an agreement that is between 28 member countries of Europe and 15 or 16 member countries of ECOWAS, and this is signed and shrouded in secrecy. It tells you something.
4 banks in Nigeria have been named among the world's top 500 banks. The banks include First Bank of Nigeria Limited, Guarantee Trust Bank PLC, Zenith Bank PLC, and United Bank for Africa. The 2016 The Banker and Brand Finance Top 500 Banking Brands report showed that First Bank retained its #1 banking brand ranking in Nigeria for the 5th consecutive year. First Bank moved up the scale by 16 places, rising from 336th position in 2015 to 320th this year, while GTB moved to 389 in the world from 417 in 2015. Zenith Bank dropped from 388 in 2015 to 392 in 2016. UBA returned to the ranking in 447, while Access Bank PLC dropped from the 2016 ranking. Access Bank was ranked 496 in 2015. Among the 5 countries in Africa that made the ranking, Nigeria has the highest brand value increase of $249 million. The Nigerian Stock Exchange says it will open talks with the government to bring public enterprises on the stock exchange for the benefit of Nigerians. Chief Executive Officer of the NSC, Oscar Onyema, says NSC will continue to dialogue with the FGN to ensure that state-owned enterprises are listed in the capital market to unlock the government potentials. He said the move by the Minister of State for Petroleum, Ibe Kachukwu, to raise initial public offer for the state-owned petroleum corporation is encouraging. Onyema disclosed that the stock market lost about $30 billion in market capitalization from 2014 to date due to the fall in oil price. Now, the country may experience another round of petrol scarcity soon if the naira continues to depreciate in value, particularly against the United States dollars. Oil marketers in the country says sourcing for dollars to import the products is becoming increasingly difficult, with most turning to the parallel markets for foreign exchange. They decry that they buy a dollar for as high as 280 naira at the parallel market because it was not easy to get the greenback at the CBN's official exchange rate of 197 naira. The marketers stated that the deposit money banks is no more willing to give out letters of credit to oil marketers except those who provide guaranteed sources of forex. Oil prices in the global markets breathed fresh air as various crude brands attracted higher values. At the London market, the Brent crude trades for $35 a barrel, rising in price by more than 2%. For the OPEC basket crude, its price jumps to $29 per barrel. And that's it today on Business Nigeria. Thanks for watching. I am Ugochi Oliwo. See you next time.